Hello, YouTube Book Club. Today we're starting a new book. It's called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. We took a little hiatus last week as I had some things to attend to. So now we are back and we're going to tackle a new book. So hopefully you guys out there have already read through The War of Art, at least through to the 10 pages. If not, that's okay. We're going to discuss it. I do highly recommend going out and purchasing Steven Pressfield's The War of Art. This is more of a longer book, and we're just going to be hitting some of the highlights as we read through and discussing it. We have Kim here. She says, damn, I have a sweater on and the heat is on. It's chilly here. She read the 10 pages. Awesome. I'm glad you're here, Kim. I'm glad you read the 10 pages. And thank you for waiting out on that week last week. As I said, I had some things I had to take care of. It's actually warm in my house. It's been cooling down here, especially at night. It's been really cold. I've been wearing coats and things when I'm out and about at night. But yesterday was like the first kind of real like colder day. But I'm inside, so my house is nice, and I tend to run hot anyway. So I think Zandra was planning on showing up, and hopefully she'll tune in as well. But Kim, so you got a chance to read the 10 pages, so that's good news. Cheers to you. How was your week? You've got your creative activities going on. I have been, oh, you know what? I don't have my other light. That's okay. You guys can see me. I've been kind of just hustling. I've got a lot of opportunities to earn some money coming in, which is really nice because this year has been a little rough on a lot of people, and I feel very blessed. I have opportunities to make my ends meet now, and so I'm just waiting on some money to come in from some of the stuff I've been doing, and I have a commission that I'm working on. I'm not sure, Kim, I think you may be tuned in. I did a little live stream where I just hand drew this mandala. I just was showing people how to take everyday objects to map their circles out, and I did a live stream on this, and people seem to really like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload that video here to YouTube for people to see, and I'll put the link over here somewhere in my post editing after this live stream. So if you guys want to check out how to make a mandala when the live stream's over, I'm going to go in and I'm going to add that link right here. So kind of really fun, very easy. This took me like 10 minutes to draw, and I'm just, sitting here going through it with everybody. So really fun, really fun. So it's kind of the stuff I've been working on, is getting more videos and stuff out there and more art projects going. Kim said that she had a really good week. She taught a lot of classes. She had new students joining already, existing running classes. And, oh, Kim said she did catch my live stream. She said it was really fun. And her mandala is hanging in her studio downtown. Yes, I'm so happy. It's awesome that you got to tune into that and do the mandala. I thought I saw you in there. It's a little fuzzy after you do so many live streams, though. But yeah, new students joining your classes. That's amazing. I have, as you already know, I have a 6-week course that I'm working on right now, and I'm building up to that. So if anybody out there is watching, if you're interested in my 6-week painting course or anything like that, again, I have this free mandala live stream, and I'm going to be doing a free webinar on November 11th. So if you did get a chance to check out the mandala and you liked it, you really want to sign up for my free webinar. So you just go to my website, SariLunaDesigns.com, and you hit subscribe, and I will send an email out. I'm not very good at sending emails out. I typically avoid doing that, but we're going to start doing it now. Get you guys some more content in my email list. I've been building my list, and so now it's time to actually show you guys, things that I've been working on, sending out videos to people who might be interested in it. So good. I'm glad, Kim. It's always good to have new people coming into our workshops and classes. So I'm happy that you're able to do that right now. It's really nice that people are actually, I feel like the vibe of the general population is changing to where people are like, okay, like a lot of the people that have been quarantining are still quarantining, but they're kind of like, okay, like I need to do something, like I still want to go out and be safe. So that's kind of nice. I think it might restore a little bit of balance for people. So that's good. Good news all around. So yeah, this book I read through, and I just kind of made some notes in here. If you have any notes, please let me know. And the first thing, when I was reading the foreword on this book, as you can see, I love to mark my books up and write notes in there. As I was reading the foreword by Robert McKee, who apparently Stephen Pressfield wrote this book for Robert, his friend. And the thought came to my mind because he's talking about how he holds the Olympic records for procrastinating, how when Pressfield asked him to write the foreword, he gave him a deadline, and he's like, knowing that if he gave him a deadline, he'd eventually have to actually do it and produce it, which I use this tactic with myself a lot. Like if I know that there's something that like traditionally I will procrastinate with, I'll give myself a deadline or make myself accountable to people. So that way I actually show up and do it. So when I was reading that, the thought came to my mind. One of my really good friends, Holly, she says, I'll stop procrastinating when I get around to it. And that really cracked me up because I'm like, I'll stop procrastinating, but when I get around to it, which is procrastination in itself. So super funny. We've got Zandra here in the chat. Welcome, Zandra. Zandra says she caught the mandala live stream and she said it was really fun. Good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. Welcome. I'm glad you made it, Zandra, in spite of our hiatus last week. I'm glad you guys all came back. So here we are going to have a good book sesh together. Zandra, did you read the book up to page? So there was like a bunch of unmarked pages. So there was like a lot of reading prior to the actual page numbers. So we just went ahead and decided to read to page 1 since there's no chapters in here. And you have to excuse me, I'm still drinking my coffee because my schedule has been turned around, and I sleep most of the mornings now due to other obligations. I have obligated myself to be awake to a very late hour in exchange for U.S. currency. So now I have like bartender hours again. So I'm just waking up, you guys. This is me fresh out of bed. Not really. I was been for a little while. So we have Zandra says, yes, she had a hard time not reading more than the 10 pages. Oh, so we have a little, you got the reading bug. It's good information. That's good news. So Zandra's saying you're in the Zandra and Jeremy schedule. Exactly. I know you're like so I'm not even gonna worry about correcting it now. I don't have any obligations during the early morning to afternoon now until I have another opportunity to earn a lot more U.S. currency once my license comes through for this job from the state. So when I get there, I'll worry about changing my sleeping patterns. So yes, Zandra, you and I, we're on the same sleep schedule now. I'm to my all natural night owl. Oh my God. Well, anyway, here we go down the rabbit hole of procrastination. Let's go back here. We have, so now he's outlining in his foreword what each book covers. So this is separated into, I think, 3 or 4 separate books rather than chapters. And the whole thing is about 165 pages long. Zandra says, I'll worry about my sleeping when I get there. Word, right? Like, I'm sitting here like, oh man, my sleep schedule's all messed up or whatever. But like, really, it doesn't matter, right? So let's not worry about things that really don't matter. And Zandra says she's very glad to hear that classes are going well for Kim. Yeah, I'm super proud of you guys. Zandra's been sending me messages. Really cool painting projects going on. So we have a lot of really good activity between the 3 of us. And I'm sure there's more people out there that are getting creative and going to be sharing with us soon. So also, if you are watching, if you go to Facebook, we have Creative Club with Sari Luna on Facebook. It's just ask to join, and you can come on in there and share any art projects you're working on, get some feedback from some really cool people. We've got an awesome group community that we're growing in there of really cool creative people going in and sharing all their stuff. So book 1 in here, he's outlining for us, is that book 1 is defining the enemy, which is essentially like procrastination, not showing up. Book 2 gave him a plan for how to deal with it. Book 3 gave him a vision of victory, so what it would look like once he actually does deal with it. And as he finished off reading the book, it says that he felt a calm. So I'm really excited because I have a big project coming up. And, you know, I even found myself going, you know, I'm just really too busy to do book club. I'm too busy to do book club, but not. Okay. First of all, number 1, I'm not. I can make the time. I love to read and I love to meet with you guys. But you know, when you get more and more things on your plate and you're like, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. This is my procrastination thing. Maybe I'll just slide something off my plate and make room for other things. No. So I'm here really needing to read The War of Art. I'm needing to read The War of Art with you guys. So I thank you for holding me accountable. You guys showing up here, you know, this is helping me. I need to read this book right now. I find myself feeling that same way, where I'm just like, I'm like, what does he say? He stares back guilty-eyed from every page. And as I read through this, I was just like, oh, this is really, I really need to read this. This is good. This is good that I'm doing this. So if you're out there wondering if you have time to read a book, you have time to read 10 pages a week and come and meet up with us and have a little talk about it. We'll, you know, it'll help you. I promise you this won't hurt you. So follow my example, and Zandra's and Kim's too. Like we love this meetup. It's really good for us. So to begin out in the book 1, he says the enemy of creativity is resistance, and that it's a destructive force inside human nature that rises whenever we consider a tough, long-term course of action that might do for us or others something that's actually good. So when we're resistant to an activity, to a goal, to some work, that means that it's really important that you actually do follow through, because this is actually going to be good for you and you're going to grow through it. And the only way to grow is to get outside of your comfort zone. So we've all heard that one. You know, you can apply it to the gym, you can apply it to your art, you can apply it to your work, you can apply it to, you know, waking up early. Oops, did I say that? No, I'm not doing that. I'm still drinking my coffee, you guys. Ugh. So growth through resistance, right? Like, so we all have resistance. So self-sabotage, self-deception, and self-corruption. This is known as like an artist's block, a writer's block, and it's a paralysis and sometimes the symptoms that come on are like are kind of appalling, right? Like, so me being like, okay, yeah, I want to grow this art community, and then having that thought of like, oh, well, now I have so much on my plate. Should I get rid of my art? No, no. Don't get rid of anything that you've worked to build, silly. All right, so waking up early? Nope. Zandra is laughing at me. She knows, she knows. I'm not even gonna worry about that. So, how to cure writer's block? It's not a trip to your psychiatrist. The cure is in book 2 of this, and it's called Turning Pro. So if you want to know how to cure writer's block, if you want to know how to cure artist block, if you want to know how to cure creative block, continue on with us. So Kim is laughing at us, saying she's been up since 6:30 a.m. Kim, I went to bed at 4 a.m. Like I said, bartender hours. Like this has been like I basically went through like the stages of like jet lag, or like Rip Van Winkle waking up from hibernation, like as I'm like adjusting to this new schedule for me. I've really been like, my whole body has been affected, like with sluggishness and my brain and all that. Zandra's been up since noon. Okay, you guys. Zandra likes the part where Robert McKee says he tried on all his clothes procrastinating. Zandra went to bed at 6 a.m. Yes, so basically you can do like this giant list of activities that maybe you've been putting off doing at inappropriate times that will then blockade your progress on what's really important to you. So it's like sometimes I'll get like this laundry list of things to do that I want to do for my business, and instead of doing the one that I have the most time constraints on, I do maybe the one that I haven't felt like doing for like so long, and that maybe doesn't really necessarily matter, at least in the moment. And then you find that then after that task is done, that you're like, oh shit, now I'm on even more of a time crunch, and then it incites this more panic. But I think, it's interesting because sometimes you might get the task done, but maybe if you might still get the task done in spite of doing all that. But you know that if you were to block out like chunks of time, like at multiple points prior to the deadline, that you would actually maybe come up with like kind of a cleaner product. Maybe it would be well thought out, maybe it would be smoothed out. But as long as you're still meeting your deadline and producing, you can work with that and try and reverse engineer that process, and like try and like push back more time, and actually start to develop a cleaner habit. But yeah, no, active procrastination. I find that I'll be cleaning, I'll be trying on all the clothes in your closet. That's insane. I love it. So Zandra says, doing things at the wrong time is why I allow myself only this week's reading every week, because I'll read the whole dang book and not do the actual constructive work. Oh, I like that. So I think what Zandra's saying is that, if she forces herself to read along with the group, she has more time to contemplate the content, and actually it will be fresh on her mind as we go through together and have an active discussion about it. And then that will then kind of open her up a little bit more, and she'll kind of have a little bit more insight and be more constructive with herself that way. Yes, Zandra says, nailed it. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, I like that. I think that's, there's the community aspect that helps us with that. It's like a brainstorming session, right? Like if you're trying to come up with ideas for problem solving, or like a new this or a new that, or even creative work, brainstorming sessions are really helpful because you get other people's perspectives and ideas. And I know there's been multiple times to where I've been reading something out of this book and I've told you guys, I don't really understand that. And one of you guys would chime in and say something that then would make me kind of be like, okay, I get that now. Okay, I see what you're saying. So, yeah, that's super cool. I love that we can provide that for each other. And like I said, I got to get through this book too, you guys. I'm going to be taking coffee breaks because it's my first cup of coffee. So Kim says, I have to schedule everything. First on to do for the day are what I can make money. She's in 3 book clubs and it's addictive. Oh my God, 3 book clubs. I love it. Yeah, so for me, I like my morning to be dedicated to my business and my art. And then if I'm doing too much like businessy work in my art, then I kind of need to schedule in some active art creating time. So for me, I get into this kind of battle where I'm, because of other obligations that I'm trading for US currency, I end up not carving out as much active time for creating art that I would like. And then when I do have the free time, like I'd like to spend my morning first thing on my business so that the first thing I'm thinking about and devoting myself to is my actual, business operations, maybe, all that, and my planning for my workshops and things. So then I go throughout my day feeling accomplished because I've done something good for my passion and my business. And then I go out and I serve others. And then what I've been trying to do is, when I get back from my place where I work, outside of my business, then when I get home, then I want to sit down and make art. So that works really well for me to sandwich my day like that. Zandra says, I tend to do more creative work in the afternoon. I think it comes from singing. It's not good for the voice to start first thing. So I do a little before, create, do a little after. Perfect. Yes, I love it. Yeah, and everybody has their own little flow, right? So like what works best for you? Like when do you get your best work done? So yeah, for me, like if I don't do something on my business like first thing, then I go through the day feeling like, oh, am I going to get this done, So, but creative block, what was that? We were doing self-sabotage and trying on clothes, and then we went on this. So then turning pro is, so he's saying, turning pro is somebody who will decline a social event because they're working. I'm going to decline going and hanging out with friends because I have something that I've promised myself I'm going to do, and I'm going to show up for myself. And I think that that's a really nice gift that we can give ourselves. Of course, it's important to stay social and keep your relationships healthy. But you need to keep your relationship with yourself healthy, and making sure that the active procrastination isn't these, golfing or going to the beach or, live chatting on a video call. I find that I have to turn my phone on to silent when I'm working, because that's time for me, and that's okay to do, and decline invitations because I've made a promise to myself. So I really like that they outline that for us, that in order to be pro, you actually have to do that. Otherwise, you're never going to have enough time to devote to your craft. So let that set in, right? In order to turn pro, you have to show up for yourself, and you can't let other people or other events or other outside influences carve into that time, because otherwise you're not going to be pro. So all the work that built the foundation of your creations, let's see, it's work. So everything that you create has come from work. Words, Andra says. So the day-by-day, step-by-step campaign of the professional, preparation, order, patience, endurance, acting in the face of fear and failure. No excuses, no bullshit. So the professional focuses on mastery of the craft. Zandra says, you have to show up for yourself to be pro. Exactly. It's kind of like if you're going to be anybody, you're going to make some enemies. I'm not on a page. I'm still in the forward. I'm like on page. So it's the forward, and then I'm like right here. Maybe you didn't read the forward, Zandra. You blasted through it. You got it, girl. All right, cool. So Book 3 covers the higher realm, looks at inspiration, the result that blossoms in the furrows of the professional who straps on the harness and plows the fields of his or her art. Then we've got a quote from Pressfield. It says, when we sit down each day and do our work, power concentrates around us. We become like a magnetized rod that attracts iron filings. Ideas come, insights accrete. So the effect of inspiration is stunning images and ideas arrive as if from nowhere. So I have a bunch of notes on this, you guys. I have my own opinion about these things. So you're going to see Stephen Pressfield's opinion. You're going to see Robert McKee's opinion, and I'm going to tell you my opinion about this next part. And we're talking about the spiritual realm. This is bringing me back to the days of when we were going through the Artist's Way, and we were discussing how Julia Cameron talks about inspiration and creativity flowing through us from a higher being. Well, we have another discussion about that. I'm not sure why all of these creative books involve spirituality so much. I think because for me as a creator, it's body, mind, and spirit. If I don't make art, I can't human, right? Like I need to make art. So for me, it's body, mind, and spirit. And so I think it's all entwined with my everyday existence. So anyway, just a fair warning, we're going to have a little discussion here. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say too. I want another cup of coffee. I should have made one. So the cause of inspiration, Stephen and Robert see things differently. So Steve Pressfield says that the negative force, that dark antagonism to creativity is embedded deep in our humanity. And he says that when he looks for the cause of inspiration, it's not in human nature, but on a higher realm. And he says the ultimate source of creativity is divine. And then Robert says that he believes the source of creativity is found on the same plane of reality as resistance. And that is genetic. And he says it's called talent. The innate power to discover the hidden connection between two things, images, ideas, words that no one else has ever seen before, link them and create for the world a third utterly unique work. And he says that talented individuals' natures will first resist the labor that creativity demands, but once they commit to the task, their talented side stirs to action and rewards them with astonishing feats. And he says that the flashes of creative genius seem to arrive from out of the blue for the obvious reason that they come from the unconscious mind. In short, if the muse exists, she does not whisper to the untalented. I have some problems with this. Okay, Zandra says that she doesn't like Robert McKee's genetic theory. I don't either. And I was literally having this conversation with somebody 2 days ago and last night about, okay, I have a problem with this. For all the work that I've done, for all the studying that I've done on creativity, for all the people that I've taught on creativity, this is not what I see. So if you're out there like, what is this higher realm stuff? You know, maybe I agree with it. Like, open your mind and hear me out here. Talent, they're using talent as if, okay, so talent is an innate kind of, you're naturally drawn to and have an ability for whatever it is you're talented in, right? Skill is repetition and practice. And oftentimes people with skill surpass people with talent because the people with talent feel like they don't have to try. So, or hone their skill because it's just come easy to them. Well, that means that whoever's going to work hard is going to surpass them. But if you have talent and you actually do practice and hone it, you're going to skyrocket. So yes, you have a leg up if you have talent, but only if you really practice with it. And it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody who isn't innately prone or innately have an ability for it. I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. You know, they can still surpass you. So this whole thing, also this thing about skill, okay, the thing about creativity, and he mentions in here that connecting, the innate power to discover the hidden connection between two things, images, ideas, words, that no one else has ever seen before, link and create the world a third utterly unique artwork. Okay, so that's called creativity and innovation, and those skills can be taught. So anytime you are able to connect two things that seemingly don't go together, but find a connection and make them work, that's a skill of your brain, right? I don't believe. So you've seen those things where you can do like word games and stuff that supposedly strengthen your brain in certain ways. It's just a type of thought. And if you practice that type of thought pathway, you will then open your mind to new possibilities, right? So that's why meditation is really good. That's why these word games are really good, because they stretch your brain and they create new neural pathways. And once those pathways are solid, then you'll like all of a sudden start to see things that you wouldn't prior see. And the same was like when I was doing graphic design. When I first started, it took me a longer time to do this packaging layout than it did after like a month or two. And after like a month or two, I was like, this is so easy. Why was this so hard to me? So it's repetition, right? And that's what puns are. So pun is something where it's like the word is the same, but the meaning is two different things. And sometimes it's hard for people to recognize puns. But if you like read a bunch of them, then you can start to connect those dots. So that is my thing. I don't agree with either of these fellas on like the whole divine whatever. Like I feel like the more creative you can get, the more you practice being creative, the more easily creativity comes to you, which is why it's good to take workshops and classes and things. So we've got some action over here through my rant. Zondra's saying, when reading this, she had just gotten done watching Neil deGrasse Tyson's masterclass, and one of the biases he talks about is the I'm special bias. Genetic talent is the I'm special bias all the way. It says, I'm special and there's no way you can be. It is elitist. And Zandra says that's interesting about puns. I hadn't thought of them that way. So I like surrealism, right? I like when something is one thing, but it's also another. And to me, that's why I really enjoy puns. Like I'm like a big dad joke fan. So Kim says, I think we are all born with talent. Some people know how to tap into it and expand it, and others just do not use it, and it is left hidden and locked up. Right. Okay, so Kim, I really like that. So then that really parallels with what I enjoy about the Julia Cameron book, which is everyone has access to creativity, right? So, and my thought on that is like, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So if you don't practice, and not necessarily with your talent, but if you don't practice tapping into your creativity, sometimes it can get squelched, right? But with talent, Kim's saying, we're all born with talent. Some people know how to tap into it and expand it. Others just do not use it, and it is left hidden and locked up. Yes, so everyone has potential to be great at something or many things. Everyone has the capability. So, right. I love it. Everyone has the potential. It's hidden and locked up. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. You guys are hitting it on the head for me. I think that I think that when we're reading some of this stuff, it might be nice to look at like the year that it was published, because sometimes we get, it's really hard to write something that isn't like indoctrinated with like, the current times. So this was written in 1951. I think that, we frame knowledge as best as we can with what we know and what we've experienced and what we've grown up with. So I think that just because we don't agree with maybe the framing of the knowledge, I think that just because we don't agree with the framing of the knowledge, that it doesn't mean that there isn't knowledge here for us to take, which is why I'm really enjoying, like, it's crazy that these creative books we keep reading are all seemingly connected to spirituality, etc. But I think it's good it's still got good content, and it's a good discussion. So Zandra says, on all caps, with lots of exclamations and question marks, this was written in 1951. And yeah. Yes, ma'am, it was. Written by W.H. Murray. No, the Scottish Himalayan Expedition. What the hell? Approximately 94 words. Okay, so these are citations, actually. My bad. Written by... I'm looking at the back. I don't know. Whatever. It was written in... Here we go. Copyright 2002 by Stephen Pressfield. Kim's correcting me. It was written in 2002. Look at the back of the title page. I was going to say, Stephen Pressfield is still writing. Yeah, no. Those were his citations for some of his work. My bad. All right, back to the book, though, yo. Okay, also I have a note over here. I have seen evidence that supports creativity is like a muscle. If you train and gain skill with repetition. Hand-eye coordination, creativity, innovation. Repetition equals familiarity and ease. And as you can see, I had a whole ton of stuff to say about this page that I wanted to make sure that we talked about. And you guys, we just finished reading and discussing the foreword. We're not even in the book yet. Kim says, not bad, Sari. Sandra says, got it. Sandra says, oh my God, I love your markups, book goals. Oh my God, I can't read. Oh my gosh, I was reading this and I'm like sitting there like laughing to myself and like shaking my head going, no, look at my little asterisks on everything. So yeah, guys, you got to write up in your books that, it's not your book if you haven't written in it. It's just the libraries. All right, y'all. We have made it. We are now going to read The War of Art, written by Stephen Pressfield in the year 2002. So we have here's more markups for you guys. This is Stephen's talking about what his day is like. And so I said this is a daily routine. And what we need to do as artists and creatives is, as Kim said, her morning starts out with how she can earn some money. Zandra's day starts out with a little creative work, a little break, and then some singing. My day starts out with what I can do to get my business organized and earn some money and plan for future projects. Then I go and I earn money from somebody I trade work for US currency, and then I come home and I do my creative work, and then we do it all over again. So Zandra says, if you haven't written in it, it's the library's word. All right, so a daily routine. He gets his coffee, brushes his teeth, whatever. He says his prayer, which is the invocation of the muse from Homer's Odyssey. And I highlighted that because I really want to read it. Did you guys out there read the invocation of the muse from Homer's Odyssey? Because now I kind of want to. If it's not too long, I kind of want to take a look at that. So then after he reads that, he sits down and he plunges in. When he starts making typos, he knows he's getting tired. That's 4 hours or so. He's at the point of diminishing returns. He wraps up for the day. He copies whatever he's done to a disk, and he stashes it in the glove compartment of his truck in case there's a fire. So when it gets down to it, when his office is closed, how many pages have I produced? I don't care. Are they any good? I don't even think about it. All that matters is I've put in my time and I've hit it with all I've got. All that counts is for this day, for this session, I have overcome resistance. And that is Steven Pressfield's professional, gone pro, daily schedule for his morning. So Zandra said she did not read The Invocation of the Muse, but she highlighted it as well. Zandra says T.E. Lawrence is very good. He used one of his quotes from his high school for your senior pictures. T.E. Lawrence. Do you know what the quote was, Zandra? I would be interested in hearing that. So again, basically at the end of this, all that he cares about is that he showed up and he gave it his best. So I think that we need to really take that to heart as creators. Like, it doesn't matter if what you made is any good because you showed up, and that's the most important thing. Invocation of the Muse from Homer's Odyssey. All right. Let's see what you got. Internet. The Odyssey of Homer, translated by T.E. Lawrence. No, The Invocation of the Muse. O divine Posy, goddess daughter of Zeus, sustain for me the song of the various-minded man who, after he had plundered the innermost citadel of hallowed Troy, was made to stray grievously above the coasts of men, the sport of their customs, good or bad, while his heart, through all the seafaring, ached in agony to redeem himself and bring his company safe home. Vain hope. For them, for his fellows, he strove in vain. Their own witlessness cast them away, the fools. Oh, cast them away. The fools, to destroy for meat the oxen of the most exalted sun. Wherefore the sun god blotted out the day of their return. Make the tale live for us in all its many bearings, O Muse. So Zandra says, all men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind wake in the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreams of the day are dangerous, mean, for they may act on their dreams with open eyes to make them possible. T.E. Lawrence. I love it. All men dream, but not equally. Ooh, that was potent. That was potent, Zandra. So yeah, so the Invocation of the Muse. Zandra says that invocation made little sense. All right, well, we tried it on, you know. I think Zandra's quote's pretty good too. All right. Well, let's keep it moving, guys. I've got a lot of stuff to do today. So, so that was our word, Zandra says. So that was what Steven does to be pro, right? So what does he know? This is a little shorter. He says, it's not the writing part that's hard. What's hard is sitting down to write. What keeps us from sitting down is resistance. And I just got goosebumps, you guys. Sitting down to paint is the hardest part. Sitting down to do the work is the hardest part. Showing up is the hardest part. So what keeps us from sitting down is resistance. And now this book is, the first book within this book is all about resistance. So this is kind of our intro into this. Zandra gives me a big word here in the chat. So here we have the unlived life. Most of us have two lives, the life we live and the unlived life within us. Usually what we dream about. Have you made your dream into reality? Sit down and work on it every single day. So have you ever wanted to be ... You know, what is it? What have you ever wanted to be? A mother, a doctor, an advocate for the weak and the helpless, run for office, crusade for the planet, campaign for world peace, or preserve the environment? Late at night, have you experienced a vision of the person you might become, the work you could accomplish, the realized being you were meant to be? I'm feeling called out. I don't know about you guys. Ooh, Are you a writer who doesn't write, a painter who doesn't paint, an entrepreneur who never starts a venture? Then you know what resistance is. Resistance is the most toxic force on the planet. It is the root of more unhappiness than poverty, disease, and erectile dysfunction. Yielding to it deforms our spirit. Genius is a Latin word. The Romans use it to denote an inner spirit, holy and inviolable, which watches over us, guiding us to our calling. And I'm a firm believer that whatever it is that you dream about is your personal soul. Like, I feel like your inner spirit, that's you. This is how I'm taking this. This is kind of what I've seen in my life, and what resonates with me. So if that resonates with you, you can take that however you want. But genius is your inner spirit watching over us, guiding us to our calling. So genius is when you follow those urges, when you follow those dreams. And I have not seen that framed that way before. So that's kind of cool. So that center, your inner spirit, right? That's you. It's your soul seat. This is your in potential, your beacon, your guiding star. So resistance is faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, and harder to kick than crack cocaine. All right. So do you stare death in the face? So do we have to stare death in the face to make us stand up and confront resistance? Does resistance have to cripple and disfigure our lives before we wake up to its existence? Ugh. So just because you don't do that thing that's in your heart, your inner genius is calling you to do it? Wait, I read that wrong. So wake up, I guess, and do that thing in your heart. So take the first step towards pursuing your dreams. Every shrink in the directory would be out of the business if we did this. I like that. If you are able to push through resistance and work towards your dreams, and you just take the next logical step, pretty soon you're going to make a lot of progress. I've made a lot of progress in the last 3-4 years, 5 years, 10 years. And it's nice to look back and feel accomplished about it. So look in your own heart. And unless I'm crazy, right now a still small voice is piping up, telling you, as it has tens and thousands of times, that the calling is yours and yours alone. And that's the other thing too. Like, I've been looking for, I would really like a playbook so I could just follow it out piece by piece and just know that what I'm doing is right. And we don't get that. Okay. Especially if you're doing something different. I like to think that what I'm doing is something kind of different, even though it's maybe modeled after certain things that I've seen. I feel like everything that you do is definitely imbibed with your own spirit, right? So nobody's going to lay it out for you what you should do. And just because somebody does lay it out for you, you have to weigh that against your own heart and be like, is this really what I want to do? And also, might I add, don't overthink things. If you commit to do something, just do it, see if it works. Zandra says that Zandra's wording my quote, I'd like a playbook. Kim says, you have to write your own playbook. Everyone's journey is different and unique. Bingo, exactly. Nobody's going to tell you what you have to do. Nobody's going to tell you what's right for you, because at the end of the day, you have to live with what you've done. You have to live with regrets on things that you don't choose to take steps toward. So, you're the one. Okay, and I really like this because he's calling out Adolf Hitler here. He said it was easier for Hitler to start World War II than it was for him to face a blank square of canvas. Because Hitler wanted to be an artist. At 18, he took his inheritance, a bunch of money, and he moved to Vienna to live and study. He applied to the Academy of Fine Arts and the School of Architecture. But have you ever seen one of his paintings? Neither have I, he says. Resistance beat him. Call it an overstatement, but I'd like to say it anyway. It was easier for Hitler to start World War II than it was for him to face a blank square of canvas. Zandra says the Hitler bit is an oversimplification. Yeah. Kim says they are online. Check them out. You have to write your own playbook. Wait. What's online? Playbooks? Oh, Zandra says she's seen his work. It's quite good. Hitler's? Yeah. I feel like this quote, it was easier for Hitler to start World War II than it was for him to face a blank square of canvas. It's like, damn. Okay, so Kim says Hitler's paintings are online. Check them out. Okay, I see. All right, well, yeah. So, yeah. I feel like that's kind of, is that like an insensitive statement too? Like, it was, I don't know. Well, let's move on from that. That's kind of, it makes me feel weird. But yeah, like Zandra said, it's an oversimplification. All right, well, I don't know. Ugh. That was gross. Thanks for that, Stephen Pressfield. You made us Anyway, the enemy is a very good teacher, the Dalai Lama. So we have here resistance greatest hits. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to say about that? That kind of sat weird with me. But I was like, anyway. So resistance greatest hits, we have here a list of things that resistance does to us. So now we've realized that resistance is that force inside of you that like you allow to stop you from doing the things that you really truly want to do, essentially. So there's a list in no particular order of the activities that most commonly elicit resistance. So the pursuit of any calling in writing, painting, music, film, dance, or any creative art, however marginal or unconventional. The launching of any entrepreneurial venture or enterprise, for profit or otherwise. Any diet or health regime. That one made me laugh. Any program of spiritual advancement. Any activity whose aim is tighter abdominals. Any course or program designed to overcome an unwholesome habit or addiction. Education of every kind. Any act of political, moral, or ethical courage, including the decision to change for the better some unworthy pattern of thought or conduct in ourselves. The undertaking of any enterprise or endeavor whose aim is to help others. Any act that entails commitment of the heart. The decision to get married, to have a child, to weather a rocky patch in a relationship. The taking of any principled stand in the face of adversity. In other words, any act that rejects immediate gratification in favor of long-term growth, health, or integrity will elicit resistance. Any act that rejects immediate gratification in favor of long-term growth, health, or integrity elicits resistance. Or expressed in another way, any act that derives from our higher nature instead of our lower. Any of these will elicit resistance. Now, what are the characteristics of resistance? So on the resistance note, yeah, like I think resistance can, we're getting into that. Never mind. He's going to explain it to us. I'm sorry, I have a hair in my face. Resistance can't be seen, touched, heard, or smelled, but it can be felt. We experience it as an energy field radiating from a work in potential. Ooh, like when I look at that piece that I'm struggling with maybe, and I'm like, not today, Satan. Its aim is to shove us away, distract us, prevent us from doing our work. Or, as Kim said, and the book said, trying on every article of clothing in our closet in masquerading as organization rather than avoiding work. Oh, Zandra, this is for you. I've got notes, babe. So, resistance is internal. It seems to come from outside of ourselves, but it actually comes from within. It's self-generated, self-perpetuated. It's almost like, has anybody had a panic attack? The more and more you focus on the panic that you're having or the anxiety that you're having, the bigger it gets. Has anybody ever had, fear? The more and more you focus on the fear, the bigger it gets. the more and more you focus on maybe the social faux pas that you may have done, the bigger and bigger that incident gets in your mind. So you are the one that makes it big. And I'm not trying to be insensitive to any of those things. I do realize that this also is an oversimplification. Zandra says panic attack. That was the day between Wednesday and Saturday last week. Oof, Thursday. I'm sorry, hun. But depending on the severity of what it is you're dealing with, I should have said anxiety, not panic attack. So like if you're having anxiety about something, not panic attack, I'm sorry, that is like an actual thing. I'm not trying to be insensitive or oversimplify that. I misspoke here. Anxiety, right? So if you're having anxiety and you're focused on what's causing the anxiety, and a lot of times we need tools to help us outside of those things. So please forgive me. But yeah, Zandra, I'm really sorry you're having struggles with that. I hope, oh, Zandra, I'll shoot you a message. I have something that you might like. Actually, I'll just tell you right here. There's if you go to the weed store, there's something called they're for actual panic attacks. They're pills. If you struggle with panic attacks regularly, it can be really helpful to have them on hand. If you're struggling, it comes in a blue box and they have like a little green ribbon, and it's called it's specifically for panic attacks. Anyway, Kim says, yes, climbing the stairs in the Statue of Liberty and wanting to turn around on the stairs. But people pushed me up and I could not stop. It freaked me out like no tomorrow. Right. And you're just like, oh no. So like, yeah, the more and more you focus on whatever's causing you anxiety, the bigger it feels. But the more and more you can focus on like breathing and staying calm. Zandra says she'll have to try that. Normally she doesn't have issues, but 2020. Yeah, I actually don't have any on hand. Oh, they're called PTS free. PTS free. They're really helpful for anybody out there struggling with anxiety, and maybe you have panic attacks that you get stuck in. Those are really helpful. Zandra says, Kim stairs. Oh my God, yes. Yeah, so that sounds really intense, but I bet the view was really cool. And how cool that you've been to the top of the Statue of Liberty. I'm sorry that was really anxiety ridden for you, though. That sounds claustrophobic, right? Do you have like claustrophobic stuff that you deal with? That sounds like that. Like, or heights. Ugh. I would love to see those pictures though sometime, Kim. So anyway, resistance, right? So resistance to getting to the top of the Statue of Liberty for Kim. Whatever that looked like, climbing the stairs and wanting to turn around. So whatever it was for Kim, like that was resistance, right, to finishing the task. You know, for some of us, it can come in the form of like a panic attack or anxiety, and that you know, doesn't always fall within the resistance category, but I think in certain instances it can be resistance, right? So, so Kim says fear of heights. You're so brave for going up there. Oh my God, I hope you got pictures. I'm sorry, Kim, that you had to deal with that, but how cool that you've done that in spite of your fear. You should be really proud of yourself. You should be very proud, even if people forced you to do it. You still did it. That sucks though. But it's cool that you've done it. So resistance seems to come from outside of ourselves, but really it's self-generated, it's self-perpetuated, it's coming from inside. And for me, I said excuses. What is this note? Allowing our feelings to dictate our actions. Oh, so for me, I'm like, resistance can come in the form of excuses, or for me, resistance can come in the form of allowing my feelings to dictate my actions, which is, you know, I don't feel like it today, so I'm not going to show up, or, very simplified terms. Kim saying that she had a fear of heights and they would not let her turn around when she was on the stairs in the Statue of Liberty. I'm so sorry. That's kind of mean. That's kind of a weird policy, but maybe there's a reason for it, I hope, instead of just being mean. Resistance is insidious. Resistance will tell you anything to keep you from doing your work. It will assume any form if that's what it takes to deceive you. It will reason with you like a lawyer, and it has no conscience. It will pledge anything to get the deal, and then it will double cross you as soon as your back is turned. Resistance is always lying and always full of shit. How many times have you made a promise to yourself? I'm not going to do it this time, but I'll do 2 tomorrow. And then tomorrow you don't do either of them. So to me, that's what he's talking about here, about it double crossing you, is that it'll get you to make false promises to yourself. Zondra's in the chat and she says, yup. Yeah. So this is what we're dealing with here, people, when we're looking at creative blocks and things. We're coming up on the last page here that we read, which is page 10. And resistance is implacable. And what I did was I went in and I looked up some definitions of some of these words. So I'd like to read them to you guys just because I had to look them up. So implacable, not to be appeased or pacified. Maybe it's implacable. Is it implacable? Zondra's my word pronunciator. So implacable, not to be appeased or pacified. Intractable, not easily controlled or directed, not docile or manageable. Indefatigable, incapable of being tired out, not yielding to fatigue. Okay, so we have not appeased or pacified, not easily controlled, not manageable, not yielding. So Zondra says implacable was right. Cannot be placated. Okay. So resistance is like the alien or the Terminator or the shark in Jaws. Yeah, this was written in 1951 before the movies came out, huh, guys? It cannot be reasoned with. It understands nothing but power. It is an engine of destruction, programmed from the factory with one object only, to prevent us from doing our work. Resistance is implacable, intractable, indefatigable. Reduce it to a single cell, and that cell will continue to attack. This is resistance nature. It's all it knows. So here we're making resistance out to be this entity that's after you, which I think can be helpful to personify it in that way. Some of the things that I've dealt with have led me to the teaching that if you have something like this in your life, it's really good if you can imagine it like, say, Elmer Fudd in Bugs Bunny. Like, he's just this goofy, stupid cowboy out there, like, shooting at this rabbit who's constantly outsmarting him. So think of yourself as the rabbit or Daffy Duck. Like, you're always overcoming, or maybe he's the Wile E. Coyote, right? So resistance is that guy that's always trying to trick you. He's always out to get you, and you are the road runner. You're always outrunning resistance. So it's helpful if you can personify things like this, like resistance, if you can personify it and make it goofy, so you can kind of laugh at it and be like, oh, I know who you are. I recognize who you are. And so when it does come up for you, you can kind of turn it into the silly, like, less serious thing, and that can kind of help you overcome it. Zondra says, protein made me laugh. I know that it's protean, but I definitely read protein the first time, and she giggled. Indefatigable is a double negative. Where are the grammar police? And Kim says, no Grammarly in 2002. Zondra says, I like thinking of it as a personification. That's a good tip. Cool. Well, okay, so I love that helped you. And especially if you're dealing with like anxiety and stuff, or like if say you have a influence, in your life, and it's always kind of, you hear maybe this person talking when you're about to do something, and maybe it's less than constructive. You can apply that to negative people in your life too, that have said things to you that maybe are hurtful, or maybe there's a thought pattern that you've developed because something negative has happened, and say you've got this negative perception in your head. If you can apply something silly and whatever, like Wile E. Coyote, to that, it's really helpful always, in all cases. So Zandra is asking if we read page 11. She read page 11. Okay, Zandra, let's read page 11. I didn't read it. Kim did. Okay, well, let's finish it off. I guess if we have the page open, we should read both pages. That's my new rule. So resistance is impersonal is page 11. Resistance is not out to get you personally. It doesn't know who you are, and it doesn't really care. It's a force of nature, and it acts objectively. So that's really helpful, right? So if you have self-doubt, or you're struggling with showing up, just know this happens to everybody, and it's not just you. Though it might feel malevolent, resistance, in fact, operates with the indifference of rain, and it transits the heavens by the same laws as the stars. I like how, whimsical that is. When we marshal our forces to combat resistance, we must remember this. So it's not personal. It happens to everybody. Beautiful, you guys. Let's see. We've read through that. So why don't we do this? Let's pick out next week. So Zandra saying, Neil deGrasse Tyson, where is your theory of resistance? Kim says the drugs were good in 2002. Go, Steven. Zandra is suggesting that we read to page 39. Kim, I freaking love you. Maybe that's a bit much. Well, I mean, you know what? We already read through about that much this week. So the first week we read through this, Kim, Zandra, that looks to be about the same amount of reading. I'm just going to go with page 39, Zandra. You can't, no take backsies. No take backsies. So we're going to read page 12 to page 39. So I'm just going to mark with my stickies here the beginning and the end. Okay. So resistance is infallible, and we're going to end up with resistance and self-doubt. So page 12 to 39, if you guys are out there. If you're just joining us, feel free to grab the book. It's a super easy read. Look at some of the pages are just this. So if you're feeling like that's a lot of reading, don't worry. Look at how short the pages are. It's really just one paragraph per page for the most part. Oh, except for here. So really it's not too much. Oh, Kim, thank you. Kim says, Sari, you were great on the John Topovich show. I really appreciate that. I had a lot of fun on the interview. If you're tuning in, I'll put that in the link too. I uploaded that to YouTube. So if you want, I'm going to add the John Topovich show link right here. Thank you for the reminder. I have some things to add. I'm going to add the mandala tutorial and the John Topovich show. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you tuned in. I'm pretty proud of that. So that was a lot of fun. And I couldn't believe it. I went back and I looked, and just 2 days afterward, it had already had over 730 views or something crazy like that. And I'm just this is so cool. I've kind of being on a podcast is on one of my bucket lists anyway. And not only was it a podcast, but it was a video cast. So that was really exciting for me. And that was the guy, John Topovich. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups with him. He's a local Seattle guy here. And his studio was really cool. So I had a lot of fun. Zandra says, yeah, there's room for thought in there. And Zandra says, that's awesome. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but it's on my list. Oh man, those lists get long, don't they, Zandra? I've had a running list for a while. But every once in a while, you know, I'll knock a few things off the list, and it's really cool because sometimes I'll watch the things off my list. Like one of my coworkers told me to watch a show, and it took me like literally like 2 years to actually end up watching it. And it's like, she actually had me pegged. Like, she knew my humor. She's like, you would love the show. And it took me 2 years to watch it. And when I finally did, I was like, oh, she was right. So sometimes it's nice to just do it. But because then I felt bad. I was like, oh man, I should have been watching this sooner. Zandra says, word. All right, y'all, we have our homework. So yeah, do your homework. If you didn't tune into the mandala thing, check it out. If you didn't tune to the jaw on top of it, check it out. I have some work to do before I go and sell my time to somebody else. You guys have a wonderful week. Zandra says, have a great week. Love you guys. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for sticking with this book club with me, Kim, especially knowing you have 3 other book clubs. You're a powerhouse. I love it. So, all right, happy trails, y'all, and see you next week. Bye-bye for now.